Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today's topic is the powder microscopy of senna leaf. Senna is actually called Cassia angustifolia scientifically. This is the sample of Cassia angustifolia. Now, first of all, we will discuss the introduction of the drug. Scientific name, as I told you before, is Cassia angustifolia. In English, it is known as senna. Locally, it is also called as senna. It belongs to the family Leguminosae, and its leaves are used. Now, coming toward the pharmacognostic feature. First of all, we will look upon the phytochemical constituents that are present in senna. It contains larger amount of glycoside. Glycoside are those secondary metabolites which consist of two parts, a glycon and a aglycon part. Or you can say any group is associated with the sugars. It contains Senocyte A, Senocyte B, Senocyte C, and Senocyte D. These are the main active constituent of Cassia angustifolia or senna. In addition with the Senocyte, it also contains rhine, imodines, chrysopenic acid, and pebbolin. Now we will discuss the medicinal actions and uses of senna. The most famous use of senna is the drug is used as a laxative, purgative, and cathartic. Laxative are those drugs that make defecation easier. Purgative are those that removes everything from the bowel, while cathartic are those drugs that make the urgency to defecate sooner. So these are the basically same thing but with the different degrees of action. This is the least active, this is more active than laxative, and cathartic has the most powerful action. Laxative are also used to in constipation. So it is also used to clear the bowel before diagnostic test such as colonoscopy. This use is also associated with their laxative, purgative, and cathartic action. It is also used in a disease known as irritable bowel syndrome or IBS and anal or rectal surgery. It is also given in hemorrhoids. It also causes weight loss and can also be given in boils and abscesses. So these are the medicinal actions and uses of the leaves of the senna. Now we will discuss the organoleptic evaluation of the powder. As you can see, this is our sample. You can have a look on it. Its color is grayish green or yellowish green. It contains a faint characteristic odor, and its taste is mucilaginous and slightly bitter. Now after the organoleptic evaluation of the powder, we will make the slide of it. And now the material and the reagent that are required for the powder microscopy are basically the first one is the petri dish containing the sample, of course. Then is spatula, with the help of which we will take the sample. Brush to make the smear. And of course for slide making we have to have glass slide and cover slip. The dropper to drop the reagent to the slide. Then compound microscope, in which we will perform the powder microscopy. It contains the 3 objective lens, 4x, 10x and 40x. We will use 4x and 10x. Then to make 3 different slides of senna, we will use iodine, glycerine and chloral hydrate. Now come to the procedure. To perform the microscopic evaluation, first of all we will transfer a small amount of sample on a clean and dry glass slide with the help of a spatula. I have told you before that a small amount of sample is required. If you will put large amount of sample on the slide, then the slide will not be fine and clumps will be seen under the microscope. You will not be able to identify the individual cellular component. So it's important to take very small amount of the sample. Then suppose if you are making slide with the help of chloral hydrate first, then what will we do? We will add a drop of the chloral hydrate solution over it with the help of the dropper, with the precaution that the tip of the dropper does not touch the powder. Now another important step is to make the smear with the help of the needle or the brush, and after making a fine smear we will cover our slide with the cover slip in such a way that no air bubble will be trapped. Now in order to fix the slide, we will quickly pass the slide over the flame. Now we will observe the slide under the microscope to determine the cellular features and note it down in our diary. First of all, we will use the 4x objective lens. That is, we will observe our senna powder at the magnification of 40x, because objective lens is of 4x while eyepiece is of 10x. So total magnification will be 40x. Then after observing this slide with the 4x, we will observe it using objective lens of magnification 10x. In this case, the total magnification will be 100x. Now compare the observation with the given standard monograph. The standard monograph has been provided, taken from the Atlas of Microscopy, in which specific cellular features that are characteristic of senna powder has been given. We will compare our observation that either we can be able to find out these features or not. After working with the slide made with the help of chloral hydrate, we will make 2 other slides using iodine and glycerine, following the same procedure as we followed in the case of chloral hydrate solution, and then again observe our slides under 4x and 10x magnification. Then write down our observation, and in the end we will compare our observations with the standard monograph of the senna leaf, this one. These are the main characteristic features of senna, and here this is the diagrammatic presentation with the help of which we will observe our slide. Now we will discuss both of these slides, these pages in detail. Now, this one, the senna leaf or Cassia angustifolia leaves are used. It belongs to the family Leguminaceae. Cassia angustifolia is also known as Cassia senna. These are the synonyms. An English name is Alexandria senna leaves or senna leaf. As I told you before, the organoleptic evaluation, the powder is greenish green or yellowish green in color with a faint characteristic odor and a mucilaginous, slightly bitter taste. Now, we will discuss the diagnostic characters. As you know, we have taken the leaf, so definitely the characteristic features or diagnostic character will be according those which are present in leaf structure. The first one is the fragment of the lamina. Definitely leaf contain the lamina, so the fragment of the lamina in surface view. Okay, this is important. In surface view, in last we will discuss the fragment of the lamina in the sectional view. So observation will be different in sectional view and in surface view. First of all, we will discuss the surface view. So the lamina, what is seen in it? The leaf is isobilateral. Now, what is isobilateral? Isobilateral leaf are those leaves which contain the same number of stomata on both sides. That is, the dorsal and the ventral view of the surface of the leaf contain the same number of stomata. So the leaf of the senna is isobilateral. Definitely leaf, so it contains the upper and lower epidermis both. Okay, so the leaf is bilateral and the upper and lower epidermis are similar in appearance. Now, what type of cells are in the upper and lower epidermis? So they are composed of cells with thin, straight or slightly sinuous walls, curvy walls, polygonal in outline, except in the regions over the veins, where they are more elongated and may show faint cuticular striations. Okay, so what have we studied? The leaf is isobilateral and upper and lower epidermis have the almost same appearance. Now, numerous parasitic stomata, parasitic means parallel celled stomata, are present, and unicellular covering trichomes are also fairly abundant. Definitely leaf margin contain the stomata. So stomata are numerous because it is leaf. Stomata contain the guard cell. Okay, and the trichome that are present in it arising from the epidermis are the covering trichomes. Okay, and covering trichomes are also very abundant. Now, both epidermis also have secretaries where the trichomes were attached. These consist of small circular scars from which the epidermis cells radiate outwards in a characteristic arrangement. So this is the overall complete surface view of the lamina of the leaf, consisting of upper and lower epidermis containing parasitic stomata and covering trichome. These are the main features which are given in characteristic A. Now we will discuss the B part of the diagnostic character. These are the covering trichomes, the same thing which we have studied there. Covering trichomes which are found scattered as well as attached to the fragment of the epidermis. Trichomes actually are the arising from the epidermis, so when you will observe the powder of the senna under microscope, what will you see? You will see the covering trichome either attached to the epidermis or as a scattered part. They are unicellular, conical, with thick watered walls. They are sometimes curved near the base, so they lie pressed to the epidermis. Now, the third thing which is very abundant is the presence of calcium oxalate crystals. The drug contains numerous crystals of calcium oxalate. They occur as prisms in the cells of the parenchymatous sheet surrounding the group of fibers, okay, and also as cluster crystals of moderate size in the cells of this fungi mesophyll. Where they are present, the calcium oxalate crystals are present in parenchymatous sheet, fibers, and spongy mesophyll. Both types of crystals are found scattered in the powder. Then another thing which is present is the fibers, which occur in group. They are thick-walled, lignified, with few pits, and surrounded by a calcium oxalate prism sheet. You see, fiber, they are surrounded with the calcium oxalate prism sheet. So you see, the calcium oxalate is present in very abundant amount. The last one is the fragment of the lamina in sectional view, showing palisade under both epidermis. Palisade parenchyma, already know that both they are present under the upper and lower epidermis. The palisade cells under the upper epidermis are much elongated and more or less straight walled. Okay, got it? Whereas those under the lower epidermis are shorter and have distinctly sinus walls. So there is a little bit difference in the palisade parenchyma of the upper and lower epidermis. Now the lamina in the sectional view also showed the rounded spongy mesophyll, spongy parenchyma cells between the two layers of palisade frequently contain clusters of crystals of calcium oxalate. Again, calcium oxalate is present in it. Many of the epidermal cells contain mucilage, which is stained with solution of rumeterium red. We are not using ruthenium red, but you may remember it, that mucilage is stained with the solution of ruthenium red. Now, this whole description can be better understood with the help of this pictorial view. This diagrammatic representation actually give a number of features that we have already discussed, but here its diagram has been given, and below description of the each and every diagram has been given. First of all, we discuss the character 1. What is this? You can see it. This is epidermis in surface view. Okay, showing parasitic stomata, underlying palisade cells, and a vein with a striated cuticle and attached trichome. Epidermis. This is epidermis overall, and these are the stomata. How frequent stomata are there? You can see 5 stomata there, each containing a guard cell. These are the parasitic stomata, they are parallel walled stomata. Now from the epidermis, what is arising? A covering trichome. This is actually the covering trichome. This one. Okay, this is covering trichome. Now we'll see what is this number 2. Can you identify it? Now look at the description in yellow color. Number 2. This is again epidermis in surface view, showing parasitic stomata and underlying palisade cells. So it is have resemblance with the structure 1 because it is epidermis containing the stomata, but difference is it also contains the mesophyll cells. Now this is third one. You can identify it. What is this? This is covering trichomes. Okay. How can you identify it? In this picture number 1, in this diagram, covering trichome is attached with the epidermis. You can see it arising from the epidermis, and here these are present as a separate entity. Now look, this is structure number 4. It is also very easy to identify. Epidermis again in surface view with parasitic stomata and attached trichome. So these are the same structure almost with the number 1. This is epidermis, then parasitic stomata and covering trichome. Now the structure 5. Have a look on it, at it. You can see it. So number 5 is colored with yellow color. Part of the lamina is sectional view. Okay, sectional view showing the upper epidermis containing mucilage. This is whole part of lamina. The upper epidermis, it is upper epidermis. It is lower epidermis. And the cells of the upper epidermis contain mucilage in it. This dotted structure represents the presence of mucilage. Then the upper and lower palisade spongy mesophyll cells containing clusters of calcium oxalate and the lower epidermis. Since it is the part of the whole lamina, so it contains the palisade parenchyma. This is spongy parenchyma. Okay. And this is the lower epidermis, and you can see the spongy parenchyma contain the clusters of calcium oxalate crystals. This is the whole part of the lamina. Now what is number 6? Let's have a look in the description box. Part of the lamina in sectional view with a trichome attached to the lower epidermis. Again, the structures are almost similar. This is the trichome attached to the epidermis. Then now 7. What are these vessels? These are actually the xylem element from one of the large vein. Fibrovascular tissue. Do you remember? These are the fibrovascular tissues, xylem vessels. Now this 8 character, what is this? Part of a pitted vessel from a large vein. Again, now the 9th one, clusters of crystal of calcium oxalate. So you can see calcium oxalate is abundantly found, and stomata are also abundantly found in it. Now this is 10. These are the separate entity. These are scattered within the slide. Now what is this? Number 10. part of group of fiber with calcium oxalate prism sheet. So as we already discussed at the first page, that crystals of calcium oxalate may be found scattered within the slide, or they may form a sheet surrounding the fiber. So this is the fiber, and these are the sheet of the prisms of calcium oxalate. You can see it. They are present in group surrounding the fiber. 11 is also the same thing, more abundant crystals of calcium oxalate. Group of fibers with calcium oxalate prisms. This is group of fiber, many fibers, you can see how many fibers are there. So many fiber lines covered with the crystals of calcium oxalate. So dear student, hope you have understand all the diagnostic feature of the Cassia angustifolia or senna leaf. If you have any question or query, you may ask me anytime during the comment box in the comment section or in the Google Meet classroom. Okay, that's all for today. Allah Hafiz. Thank you.